Welcome aboard to podcast number 3 in the series of the Voyage to Back Yonder. In the last episode, I talked about how I was introduced to this new series and about how I was nudged to move to northern Idaho. And I asked the creator, why am I telling this detailed story of my move to another state? And the reply I received was that within my story is an example of how we can trust the Creator. And no matter how overwhelming things can become, this moment is where we live. We will always have enough for this moment. And through this experience, it was made very obvious to me that I can trust the Creator and that I do love Him or her very much. And maybe listening to this story will bring back examples within your own life of how you were supported and shown the same. I journaled the experience I had during this time as it unfolded because, so many things started to happen. And I just knew that it was something substantial happening in my life. And I am very glad that I wrote it all down to reflect on later. My mind starts to plan things and make lists in my head. So, of course, now that I had been told that, that mountain over there is where you're going to head now, my brain kicked into task mode. And the next night before going to bed, I was thinking about everything and thought that, if I moved, maybe I would use one of those packing cubes and ship my stuff rather than getting a moving truck. And the next morning, when I woke up and I went onto my iPad to look at Facebook like I did every morning, the first ad was for a U-Pack shipping service for cubes. And then my iPad screen froze and reloaded. And the first posting then was from my realtor who had sold me the condo several years before that. I had not searched anything on Google about moving yet. So it was just confirmation. I had mentioned my intention of moving to my niece that had posted the picture that I talked about last episode. But I told her to keep it a secret because I wanted to tell my family. So after torturing her for a couple of days, I had decided to let the entire family know of the plan so she wouldn't have to focus on not saying anything anymore. So I announced the June 2019 intended move. And I must say that I was blown away by how excited all my family was. When you don't interact a whole lot with someone, you kind of get these preconceived ideas on how someone might feel about you. And of course, it's always a reflection of how you feel about yourself. I realized that I had a wall up with my family, trying to protect myself from being hurt and rejected. But now that I had been through my journey of coming back from fear, I was aware that my hurt is always my choice. And now I get to integrate that power of choice into an area of my life that had been dormant and locked away. And those words from my shaman friend were echoing in my head. Your contract with your family will be changing. It was making more and more sense. I began to let my friends know of my plans to move in a year, so they were, not surprised if my family posted anything on Facebook that they might see. And this contact with those friends, spawned several of them to want to get together, even though my move was planned for more than a year away. There was this one friend, the first one, I hadn't seen her in several months, and she had moved to a new address. So when I was getting in my Nissan Cube to drive over to her house, I suddenly knew that she was going to have boxes left over from her move. And when I arrived, there they were, a folded pile of boxes in her living room. She had just moved into the new place, within the last week or so. And before I could say anything, she offered the boxes to me. When I let her know that I was getting rid of a lot of my furniture during my purge process, I asked her, hey, do you need a black, dresser? And she had just ordered a dresser that morning. So she went online and canceled her order. And she was also interested in some of the other furniture items that I was getting rid of. Everything was just starting to unfold perfectly without any effort on my part. So within 1 week after I got the message that I would be moving to Sandpoint, I already had a lot of items purged from my condo. I had so much physical energy in my body that I was motivated to sort and donate and give away stuff to a variety of people. Things just continued to fall into place. I found out the next week that I was selected for this chat team that I was interested in at work, but the training might be around my nephew's wedding, so I might not be able to attend, depending on which training class that I'd be placed in. So as that doubt came into my brain, at the same time, another thought was dropped into my head, that if I had a pickup truck by the wedding in May, I'd be able to drive up with a load of stuff and store it in my brother's garage until next year. That could keep me from not having a moving truck at all. All pushed to the back burner. So within 2 weeks from my announcement, I had made great strides with preparing my condo for the sale and moving out. And then a thought calmly dropped into my head. What if it wasn't June of 2019 that I would be moving? What if it might be more like June or July of 2018? My brain, it wasn't scared too much by this new possibility. It was like the Creator had been easing me into the move by allowing me to think it was a year away. But as fast as everything was being completed on those lists of things to do, it seemed okay to my mind if it happened that sooner. We shall see, we shall see. We'll focus on this moment and see what unfolds. And what an exciting approach to life, huh? Focus on this moment. Then as I neared the second Friday after the discovery I was moving to Idaho, I reached a state of confusion looking into pickup trucks. There were so many different makes and models and options that I had no idea what I wanted. And it was in the midst of that overwhelming feeling that was starting to rise up within me that the whispers of love told me that during one of my 4 interactions with friends that I had planned this next weekend, I would get guidance on a truck. So out of relief, I released all that energy I was investing to the universe and let the need to know right now go. And I would trust that things would unfold as planned for me. So my first meeting with a friend was for an early dinner on Saturday with a friend of mine. When I asked what was going on in her life, she mentioned some great things that were going on. And then in passing, she mentioned, oh yeah, and her husband was working at a car dealership and yada, yada, yada. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Rewind that. What did you just say? How long has he been working at a car dealership? Oh, since late in 2017? I thought he was a carpenter. Oh, the business had closed? And he started working at CarMax as a temporary job, but found out that he loved it and he was great at it. Well, can you send me his work number, please? Just amazing. And that was March 10th. So I worked a ton of overtime that next week, and it wasn't until the next Saturday, the 17th of March, that I went to the dealership's website to check out what trucks they had. And one jumped out to me immediately that I really liked. So I proceeded to go register for their website so that I could reserve the truck online. And within the 2 minutes it took me to register on the site, the truck was gone. Someone had reserved it out from underneath me. Oh, well, maybe it wasn't meant to be. I felt calm, and I knew things would unfold perfectly. Everything was going so well without me deciding a whole lot so far that I thought it was just best that I just keep trusting. So I called, and I left a message for my friend's husband that night. I didn't hear back from him until Monday morning, and he had worked all weekend, but he said that my voicemails didn't register on his phone until that Monday morning. Just had to laugh. What a wonderful experience it was to trust the timing of things. I wouldn't have had that opportunity if he would have picked up the phone right away or called me right back that night or, on Sunday. It wasn't stressful. I just let him know about the truck I was interested in and see what else there was out there. But he contacted me back and said that, he let the salesman know that had that other truck reserved, that if that person that was coming in that day on Monday didn't want it, then it was reserved for him and I could go check it out. So I was like, cool, we'll see what happens. So the next day he contacted me on his day off to let me know that the person was not able to get approved for their financing. So it was up to me to come see it. I was working more overtime, so we made plans for 2 days from then for me to meet him at the dealership. And then the next day, on Wednesday, I ran and got, all cleaned up. We got my Nissan Cube, car washed and cleaned it all out, got everything out of it because I had a feeling I would be driving away with a new truck the next day. And that is exactly what happened. I got a good trade-in on my 2009 Nissan Cube, and the price of the Toyota Tundra was great. There actually was a line of several salesmen after me that wanted the truck if I didn't purchase it, and for good reason. The truck seemed like it was underpriced. When I later researched pricing on a 2017 Toyota Tundra with 4,000 miles and everything it was equipped with, the truck was several $1,000s less than it probably should have been priced. Well, maybe instead of should, I should say could have been priced, because we know it was priced exactly as it should have been priced, because that is what it was priced. And while I was waiting for the truck to finish being prepped for me to take home, I bumped into a friend of mine that used to work where I worked. And he was actually, in the position at the dealership of those who price vehicles. So when he saw the price on the Tundra, he was surprised. And he said, I'll be right back. And he disappeared for a moment. And when he came back, he mentioned that he went to go see who priced the vehicle, because it seemed like it was priced more like a Tacoma, not a Tundra, which is the next smaller model down than mine. And he found out it seemed that someone in Texas had priced this truck, and that the vehicle somehow had been transferred up here to Colorado Springs. Somehow, the grand design. Just crazy. So on March 22nd, within 4 weeks from the time I was introduced to the concept of moving, I had a bright, new, shiny red truck. Next episode, I'm going to share more about the story of how my trust in the Creator was reinforced over and over again. So the craziness continues. So until then, do you remember a time or two in your life when thoughts came to you out of nowhere and just popped into your head with a solution or an idea to do something, and it turned out way more amazing than you could ever thought? Are you maybe in need of guidance right now? Just take some deep breaths. Sit outside during the day or at night and look up into the sky. Breathe in that love that is waiting there for you. Listen to what your heart tells you in that calmness. Answers are always waiting right there for us. Enjoy your voyage. I love you.